Um, okay, when I think about what really got me interested in doing an MBA in the first place, so a lot of it is to do with my past experience. And then I had reached that sort of crossroad in my life where I was like, okay, I need something and I want to pivot a little bit. So an MBA makes sense for me. Let me go a little bit back into what my professional history is like. So I graduated as an engineer. I've done a little bit of social work during my engineering degree. And then I graduated during the year of COVID. So when COVID hit, I had a job at Bain. I was supposed to join in a couple of months, but then it got delayed because of COVID. So there was like a little bit of a period in my life where I was left without a plan, which sort of helped me find my own startup. And I started giving back to the community. So basically, I had a startup which helped other people find jobs during that COVID period. That was a real pivotal moment for me because that helped me sort of figure out what I wanted to do. And I knew that sometime later in my life, I wanted to come back to this. I had to drop it when I joined Bain because I couldn't manage both of them at the same time. But then my job at Bain helped me understand that I really like consulting work in terms of the business aspect of it, but I also really like the tech back end of it. After a year and a half at Bain, I moved to Agoda in Thailand because I wanted to be a little bit more closer to the tech side so I could experience that part too. And then, sort of, the culmination of all of this helped me understand that where I really lie, where my strength really lies, is at the precipice of both business and technology, which sort of funnels into my wanting to become a product manager. I want to move into product now, and then somehow an MBA made sense for me right here because it will help me get that broad business sense, plus be able to brush up on uh, all my other skill set that I would need for this, and get a job in that. And then eventually, I want to go back to my startup idea that I had, and then launch that at scale. I think it's a really good question because this comes up a lot. A lot of people think it's too early to apply or it's too late to apply. To be honest, I think if you're sure in what your goals are, which I was, I knew what I wanted to do. For me, there was no point in delaying it. I knew I wanted to go into product. I knew I wanted to have my own startup. And MBA made sense for me. So waiting another year or waiting another 2 years didn't really impact that decision. I thought, let's go for it. Plus, I thought that, if I stay longer, I might just get pigeonholed into what I'm doing. This way, I get a more broader business experience. Sure. Okay. So, I think when I came to Crackverbal, I had given GMAT once already, but I wasn't 100% happy with my score. And actually, the first discussion I had with you really helped me sort of realize that okay, maybe I can give it again. It's definitely hard. It's definitely hard to go back to that mindset of studying and preparing for an exam because you're out of college, right? You've not faced that for a while. But it's really about mindset. I knew I had to study for it. I knew I wanted to get a good score. And so I would plan it accordingly. And for me, it was a little bit harder because I was living by myself. I was living outside of the country in a new country. I had to, do a full-time job and then study for it. But then you just plan it out. You plan out your days, and you know that this is what you want to prioritize for the next couple of months. So everything else takes a backseat, and then you just keep working at it. And then I eventually did. I gave the GMAT. I got a good score, and I was happy with it. And then I applied. Yeah, good question. I know. So we all aspire to get a 760 or 770. That's what we go in with. We don't always get that. And you have to, and then it's a lot of effort that goes into giving that GMAT again. It's a lot of time, resources, money. So I wasn't 100% happy with 720. I thought it was a low score for myself. But then I weighed it against all of my other strengths in my application. I looked at my experience, I looked at my motivations, I looked at my goals, I looked at all my research, and I thought that, and also, of course, I talked to you, I talked to my counselor, Vartika, I talked to Crystal, I talked to a lot of people, and I thought that it might not be the score that I wanted, but it's still a pretty good score. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with my application. And if I can make sure that my story comes out, then I don't think I have to worry too much about my GMAT score. So what made me decide working with a consultant? So I think for an MBA application, you need to be crystal clear in your story. You need to be crystal clear in your motivation. I was clear in what I wanted to do, but I was not able to frame it. I was not able to put together the story. And I think that's where a consultant comes in. Not just in that, but actually end to end. So helping me decide my schools, helping me decide and sort of evaluate what my profile is and where I could be a best fit, what sort of factors I should be looking at. Then comes the application part where vertical really helped me with my essays and forming my story and helping me become clear in my own story. This MBA process, this application process was really eye-opening, and you really learn a lot about yourself. And then also with the whole networking part, so Crackverbal really helped me find people who I could connect with for the different schools that I was looking for, attending these events, and then also looking at everything outside of this. So my LinkedIn, my resume, everything else that goes into it, and then my final application as well. So I think that's why I wanted a counselor. I needed an MBA counselor. I was sure that I wanted one. How I came to Crackverbal is an interesting story. I actually have a friend signed up for Crackverbal first, and she referred me. And then I had my first discussion with you and Karthik, and the way that you looked at my profile, the advice that you gave me sort of just convinced me that you understood where I was coming from and you understood my motivations very well and the sort of schools that I wanted to apply to. And I think I was pretty much convinced in that first call, based on the fact, based on whatever you said. Yeah, so a lot of research goes into this. I think so. The main thing that I was looking at, the first thing that I was looking at is I wanted schools that had good tech placement. That was my first criteria. I wanted schools that focused a little bit on tech. So that's how I filtered the first set out. Then I started looking at other factors like class size, location, what geography did I want to be in. That was a little bit widespread for me because I was thinking about both geographies, so I didn't want to leave one or the other during the application phase. And then also, how are the people like? How's the community like? What are the clubs like? What are the experiences like? I think a big factor or a big part of this entire school selection process is talking to the people, talking to alums, talking to people who are currently at the schools, the current students. It really helps you understand what the mindset of the school is like and what the people at the school are like. Another big thing that played a role for me was the alumni network, because I knew that once you graduate from the school, alumni really helps whenever you want to make a transition or whenever you want to step up in your career. So that was a huge part for me as well. Oh, okay. It was intense. I think every part of this application process is intense. For the interviews, I knew so okay. So first of all, Crackverbal shared with me like a list of basic interview questions that you should prepare for, which is what I did first. And then there was also a video series on how to sort of present yourself, what to talk about, what sort of stories to prepare. So I did that first and foremost. I actually had post-it notes all on my wall for different stories and different things I wanted to talk about. There was a lot of preparation that went into that. Then you helped me with two mock interviews. So I think you took one, and then Shri ma'am took one. For different schools, different times in my interview stages. But those were very helpful because we would have a mock interview and then we would discuss my entire interview and then break it down and see what I can improve and what I said well. That really helped me, as well as the recording that I would get after, because I could play it back and see what I had done. Because I took all of those learnings into my actual interview. And I think it showed. I think it showed with the amount of interviews that I was able to convert into admits. But these two mock interviews really, really helped me. Yeah, so everybody told me it's a good problem to have, which I 100% agree with. So how was it? If it was amazing. When I got my first admit, I was like, okay, I'm going. I was like, okay, even if this is the only school I get, I'm going. I'm happy. And then as the admits came in, I was like, oh my God, they also want me. They also want me. And I was very, very happy. It's a feeling that you can't really describe because you've seen months and months of hard work go into this and then it has come out well. So cannot describe it. Unless you go through it, cannot describe it. It's that amazing. I
Yes.
have chosen Kellogg to go to. I think out of all the schools that I have got into, Kellogg has the most social vibe. Um, I wanted my preference was for a 2-year MBA, so I chose Kellogg and Ross and Stern over INSEAD. Even though INSEAD has a very reputable name and a culture and the diversity in their class. But Kellogg is also a school that focuses both on tech, marketing, and on all three: tech, marketing, and consulting, which are good places that I can learn from. I can give back to the community, and I can also pivot if I need to. Plus, like I mentioned, Kellogg's social vibe is, I think, resonates very well with me. Kellogg students are the ones that I connected the most with during my entire process. When I was talking to them at the beginning, in the middle, or even after getting admit, the most responsive for me. So I think that's why I chose Kellogg. Start. Don't think about it. Just start. Don't keep delaying it. We all tend to do it, but just start talking to people. And if you want a counselor, then reach out.